It's not financial advice, not legal advice, for entertainment, educational purposes only. Anything I say is my opinion. Please don't make any financial decision based on anything I say in these videos. Listen, double check you're still subscribed to the channel. Double check your notifications are on. And if you hit that like button, double check it's working properly, because these bad actors are working overtime to suppress the channel, suppress the videos, because they're terrified of more people becoming aware of all the fraud and corruption in the United States stock market. Listen, I did a video earlier about the SEC claiming that they lost thousands of text messages from Gary Gensler. And you guys all know that that is absolute nonsense. You cannot lose text messages. This is 2025. All that stuff is in the cloud. All they have to do is go to the cell phone provider, and the cell phone provider will be able to replicate every single text message that ever came in or went out that phone, okay? What they're saying is absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But here's the thing. After looking at this nonsense from the SEC, I decided that let me look and see if there were cases where people were charged for deleting text messages. And guess what? There are multiple cases of people being criminally charged for deleting text messages. Okay? Multiple cases. And here's the thing. I saw a few governmental statutes that are violated by deleting text messages. Tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice, destroying government property, because these are government phones. So everything on these phones is governmental property. So if you deliberately delete these messages or destroy these messages, that is definitely a violation of federal law. And everybody knows this. So the fact that the SEC can claim that text from Gary Gensler miraculously disappeared because of some avoidable error, is absolute nonsense, in my opinion. And of course, I wasn't on the phone. Of course, I wasn't in the room. I have no physical evidence that it was deliberate. But from my education and experience, it is impossible to lose text messages. Okay? Impossible. They can always be recalled if you want them recalled. Obviously, the SEC don't want these messages getting out to the public. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to make it look like some magician came in. Some magician came in and made the text messages disappear. The bottom line is this. It is obvious to anybody with a little bit of common sense that these text messages that somehow disappeared out of thin air like a magic trick probably implicated a lot of people in conspiring against XRP and Ripple, and probably a lot of people conspiring against retail investors, pension funds, and institutions that follow the rules by deliberately ignoring the overwhelming evidence of fraud and corruption in AMC, GME, MMTLP, MULN, NWBO, GNS. Anybody who thinks that these deleted messages was by mistake must be very, very naive. Okay, must be very, very naive. If a retail investor, the head of a pension fund, or the head of an institution that follow the rules somehow deleted messages from their phones that might be under investigation by the federal government or might be considered evidence by the federal government, more than likely they would end up in handcuffs. But they're claiming that they deleted these text messages, that they lost these text messages because more than likely they know the lawsuits are coming. And they're trying to get ahead of it to say that once the discovery motion is put in place, that they want Gary Gensler's text messages, they already put out the feeler, put out the message that the text messages are no longer available. Bottom line is this: the SEC, DTCC, FINRA work to protect the 1%ers when they are robbing and stealing from retail investors. And I believe that those text messages were a smoking gun that showed that it was conspiring against Ripple, XRP, and against retail investors in places like AMC, GME, MMTLP. And the fact, if it can be proven that it was done deliberately, those are violations of federal law, and those are felonies. Anyway, please leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Do you think that deleting messages from government telephones should be considered a felony? Anyway, have a great day. God bless, and I appreciate y'all on this journey with me.